What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerf herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. Today I'm going to be doing a little video on the top 3 reasons why Kathleen Kennedy needs to be fired. Now, I did a video right after The Last Jedi came out, my rant where I hated The Last Jedi. I'm going to try to keep that out of this, and I'm going to try not to rant. I'm going to try to make this a little tighter and cleaner than my rant there that was over 2.5 hours long. And I think that my goal is to make it to where even those that like The Last Jedi can at least see that she's doing a terrible job running this company, and it's time to change things. My vote's Dave Filoni, but that's for a whole nother topic. So let's go ahead and get into it. Number 1 is she can't deal with directors. Recently, an article came out in Ridley Scott, one of the best directors of all time, done movies like the Alien series, he's done Gladiators, many more. He's had some crappy movies as well, but he's a very well-respected, very talented director, and he says he will not do a Star Wars movie, and he said his reason for it is because the heads of Lucasfilm can't keep their hands off the project, that he wouldn't be able to have control, at least a large amount of control, but he said they clearly are messing and always constantly trying to have their hands in everything. And if you look through all the directors, it's very clear that's exactly what's going on. From the first movie that they rushed out trying to get their money back, that they rushed out with J.J. Abrams, and it didn't come out as much because J.J.'s more of a professional, but there was plenty of rumors beforehand that they butted heads a lot. Him and Kathleen Kennedy did not see eye to eye, and she did not like some of the stuff that was going on. And they really butted heads on what was going on. Now, this is rumor. This hasn't come out as so much fact, but when you look at all the other stuff that happens that I will continue to go through, you can lean towards most likely this is what happened. Then we jump to Rogue One, and actually before Rogue One came out, they hired Josh Trank to do what was expected to be the Boba Fett movie, and then she fires Josh Trank before he even gets into making the movie to begin with, and then she hires Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards, a director who had done the Godzilla movie recently, which wasn't even that good. We're hiring a relative nobody to do the first Star Wars story. Like, this is the type of thing that you can get big name directors on because they don't have to follow the saga. They can just do a one-off and do whatever they want. But instead, you just got Gareth Edwards, who's a visual director, and whether you liked Rogue One or not, so be it. But the fact that she hired a director and then took the movie away from him, basically, and brought a whole nother person in to rewrite the script and basically direct the last half of it. And now they've even talked about bringing Gareth Edwards back again. You didn't like him before, now you're wanting to bring him back again. So there's the second movie, Issue and Struggle. Then we have The Last Jedi, which is the only one she didn't have any issues with. But a lot of people very much dislike this movie, and we're not big fans of it. And I'm not going to go into political stuff, but there's a lot of arguments you can have on her putting political stuff all throughout Star Wars, and I'm not going to get into political stuff because this is Star Wars and politics doesn't belong in Star Wars, and so it also doesn't belong in Star Wars movies, is all I will say. Then you go to the Han Solo movie, which no one wanted a Han Solo movie. Why are you putting the Han Solo movie in here? But they're doing the Han Solo movie, and you hire 2 comedic directors. You hired someone that did the 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, which I liked. They were very good. They're good comedic directors. And they did the Lego movie. They're great at those. But the problem is they do movies where they just set the camera up and they, all right, go ahead, do whatever, try to make something funny. They don't follow a script. You got to do that with Star Wars. It's a storyline. And Han Solo is not that type of director. He's not that type of character. He's not this humorous, laughing that just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So she hires that, just stupid. Again, just a dumb call. But then she lets them film 75% of the movie before she even stops it. And then they're like, oh man, this is terrible. They said it was like Ace Ventura. How in the world do you make a Star Wars movie, any Star Wars movie, much less Han Solo movie, like Ace Ventura? Then she's the head of all this. She's to blame for this as much as anyone. All of the rumors coming out, and you can, again, because of all of the other stuff, I'm going to say that these rumors, I'm going to count them because there's a lot of mistakes all along the route. But the lead actor, Aaron Arkenrider, I can't say his name, he was hired. He was The president of Lucasfilm is going to see and be like, yes or no to whoever's the new Han Solo. And they say he can't act. He can't play the Han Solo. GQ came out with an article recently that said Lucasfilm has given up on the film, that the actor cannot do Han Solo at all. He doesn't sound like him. He doesn't look like him. He can't walk like him. He's just completely different. They can't do it, and they've just given up on the film. And that's why they're not showing anything, because they don't want to show something and maybe kill some of the momentum that they kind of have for The Last Jedi or whatever. And so that's why they're holding off on it. And this was an article in GQ. Of course, now, since then, Bob Iger, the head of Disney, has come out and said, no, that's not true. But of course he's going to say that. Why haven't they shown anything at all? And for a fact, we know that when they fired Miller and them, the directors before, that when they brought on the new director, Ron Howard, that they got an acting coach for him. So if you had to get an acting coach for the lead actor and a speech coach to be able to help him between scenes, that clearly shows that they're worried about something happening. So, I mean, this is just like all the way through. And now there's nothing else mentioned. Episode 9, I'm sorry, I almost skipped over that. She hired Colin Trevorrow. Again, what? A guy that did Jurassic World, which I'm sorry, if you like the movie, that's fine. But technically speaking, and looking at just how the movie was not good. You could enjoy it because there's big dinosaurs running around, and it's like you finally brought back, Jurassic Park, and it was better than the second and third, but it just was not a good movie. It was an overblown visual fest of kind of cool action, I guess. It had some very memorable John Williams score moments, but it just wasn't that good. That was all that they did. They hired him because it made a ton of money. Well, then she fires him. And I was actually interested to see a script, because I heard his last movie, or one of his more recent movies, was fairly good. And I heard that he actually told Daisy Ridley what happened to her character, and it made her cry. So I was, interested. But then she fires him. Every director, she just tossing them around. And I mean, like I said before, Ridley Scott says, I don't know if I can, work with this person, so I'm not going to ever do anything. So we've got top directors that won't do anything with them because of her. She needs to be gone. Number 2, the trilogy. Whether you like Force Awakens, whether you like The Last Jedi, doesn't matter. Here's the issue. She's come into this and she just hired completely different directors for each movie with different writers. There's no outline over they have no idea where they're going. Again, whether you liked it or not, Last Jedi basically retconned the large majority of the things that happened in Force Awakens. If you like that, you like that. But here's the thing. J.J. Abrams is now directing 9. He can come in and he can just retcon everything to 8. Do we want to do this, or do we want a story? It's Star Wars is a saga. It's 3 episodes here that we got to do. That's got to connect with 6 other episodes. How are you so... I can't think of the right... ignorant to start doing a trilogy and have no plan. No plan at all. They had no idea where they were going with it. None. They're just now working on what's going to happen in 9. Are you kidding me? And this is her. This is her idea. This is her running the show. She is the president. She makes the ultimate decisions. She's got to go. And then finally, the shareholders. Now, I don't think this should matter as much, but I think that the directors is a huge thing, and then the trilogy are huge things. But this isn't, just an example of why she needs to be fired, because her job as the president of Lucasfilm is to make money. Now, she's bombed China. China does not care. They don't want anything to do with this, and that is squarely on her. And her choices as who she's getting as directors and writers and what she's allowing through. The first week, it was like 4th place in China, and then the second week, they said, we don't want it anymore. I think it was 92% of theaters said, let's get rid of it so we can have other stuff. They didn't even want it. They made like $29 million in China. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but they make so much more in America than anywhere else. So what? That's still the second largest box office. You got Fast and the Furious movies making like $600 million. So you're telling me that The shareholders don't want $600 million a year off of these movies? Give me a break. At least 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, half of what Fast and the Furious. You're telling me Star Wars can't make half of what Fast and the Furious is making in China? So that's one. And then number two, it's come out and everyone's trying to make it out like, oh, it's people are tired of the movies. Well, that's not true, because if it was true, then we wouldn't still be making billions of dollars here in America. Like, The Last Jedi is still the number two, even though it's as divisive as possible. And half the people or more hate it, half the people love it. It's as divisive as possible. So many people say they're never going to watch a movie again, yet it's still the number two. So don't tell me people don't want to spend money on Star Wars. But the characters that have been being made, the story that she's following, what she's done with having things so up in the air. We haven't even seen anything with Han Solo before. The Rogue One creation was a mess with just getting stuff going. She's the head, and toy sales have dropped 47%. That's billions of dollars right there. So just as far as shareholders, again, that's on the later end, but I thought that was important that the number two location country for movies, we don't have it. Star Wars isn't doing anything there, and toys are going out. And if you're like, well, that doesn't matter for me, who cares? That's just them. The big business. Well, if the big business fails, if Star Wars is losing money, they stop making movies. They shut it down. Just like Fantastic Four was shut down. Now, I don't like any of this. My point is, they didn't make any money. They're not making any more of those movies anymore. Do we want them to keep making Star Wars movies? Well, then we want them to make money. If they're losing in China and they're losing toy sales, which is the number one thing Star Wars has always done, there's an issue going on. It's time for a change. My vote's Dave Filoni. If you have anyone else he was the one that came up with George Lucas. He ran the Clone Wars. He knows the stories. He knows what George Lucas would want. He respects it. I don't think Kathleen Kennedy respects 1 ounce of Star Wars at all. She has zero respect for it. I think that's very clear. You can watch videos of her talking to George Lucas saying, I'll make sure to honor all the prior characters, which she absolutely has not done. And I'll make sure to keep it a Skywalker story, which he absolutely has not done. It's a joke. It's a joke to her. Dave Filoni will respect it. That'd be my ultimate hope. I know it's not a shining name, but most people don't know who the presidents are of companies. And Dave Filoni would do a phenomenal job. And I think that's what George Lucas would want as well. If you've got any more ideas of anybody, comment them down below. I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments about what could be added to reasons why. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, and I wanted to make it where it was people that even loved The Last Jedi could agree with what I was saying. So I definitely didn't want to put all of it on The Last Jedi or anything like that, but just make it as clean cut and something that you couldn't really argue with was my ultimate goal, although I'm sure people will argue with it a lot. But when I did my rant, as I said, everyone in the comments said, forget firing Rian Johnson, you need to fire Kathleen Kennedy. So I felt I would make this video kind of as a response to that, in agreement with that. And also, hopefully, rumors are that maybe she's already fired. My hope is that she is actually already fired and they just haven't gotten rid of her yet because they don't want to do it before Han Solo, because there's already so many issues going on with Han Solo. And then if it bombs, they can fire her and people will be like, oh, they fired her because it was bad, and then maybe they'll be like, oh, well, maybe there's hope for episode 9. Because I'll have more hope in Star Wars when she's gone. But rumors have that she's already gone because of the China thing and the issue with the toy sales. She's been kind of quiet lately. And then the huge issue with Solo and the other things I mentioned. So hopefully that's the case. Comment your thoughts down below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll post a playlist here, and my Last Jedi videos that I kind of mentioned. And I have my TeePublic thing linked down below. I unfortunately didn't make a Fire Kathleen Kennedy shirt, but if you want to kind of go against the Last Jedi thing, I do have some Fire Rian Johnson t-shirts and the last Rian Johnson film t-shirt design there. You can check those out. If you got any of those, that'd be absolutely incredible. If not, thank you guys for watching either way, and never forget, you nerf herders, I love you.